There's a lot more coming. That's why Bukola joins me to tell us exactly what's been going on socials, because you're talking. I now take my technology with me.
Technology. Jeffrey,
Thank you so much.
So many stories to look at, but one that is significant is that, the bill on state policing has passed second reading.
That was quick.
And that was very quick. It's instructive that, there's now a consensus. Initially, there was a disagreement, over whether there should be a state police, but now there's consensus building to that effect, even at the National Assembly. But the National Assembly is saying that, the concern about the possibility of manipulating police by state governors should take the backseat, but it should also form part of the conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
As the bill passes second reading, such that when there is stakeholder engagement, there will be input on how to ensure that state police does not become a tool for manipulation in the hands of governors. That's very, very important.
That's very, very instructive, and I totally agree with you, because this was raised in the 2014 confab. It's about a 900-page document. So I was going through it, and I saw that when they raised it, some people they had dissenting voices. In fact, some said this will be a recipe for disintegration. Some raised concerns about funding. Others raised concerns about abuse, and the list goes on. But, they said there's a way to tinker with these things at the end of the day to make sure that everybody, yes, let's not lie to ourselves. Some governors would definitely make attempt at abusing it. But let's see how it plays out eventually. So I agree with her totally with you to say that in being excited about the fact that let's get state police to decentralize security architecture so that we can secure our people much more better than we're doing right now, or better than we're doing it right now. It's important to look at all the variables.
All the variables.
All the variables, because the reason why people are concerned, they've seen what these governors can do even without having their own police. So giving them police, people are worried. But what is important to us right now is for our people to be safe so that they don't get killed. Look at what happened. People being kidnapped in Zamfara along the Gusau-Sokoto Road. 26 of them. Innocent people traveling, they've been kidnapped. Now maybe they will have to pay ransom also. The other day, 6 people were killed. These are human beings. Sometimes when we read these things, let's realize they are human beings. That's why I want to find out what you're saying, Bukola.
Starting with state police passing second reading, by the way. Chinonso is talking this morning, and he says, I hope, more police without adequate economic and geopolitical structural reforms to support it will be dead on arrival. But people are hungry unless the government and state governments will reduce their over-bloated budgets and channel the money to servicing more recurrent expenditures. Indeed, people are hungry, and all those variables that you talk about are what will go into the element of discussion, and which Nigerians are already reflecting on, as we see in Chinonso's post.
Exactly. Now they are making more money. We've seen big numbers from FAC, so it's time to spend that money appropriately and not misappropriate it. This is from Osas of Barris, that's a handle. Not in support. Too much abuse of power by state governments. Let the MPF remain, though need serious reforms. States can be permitted to have the civil defense that many currently run.
And Mike Egbe says we can graduate the Civil Defense Corps to perform as state police. They would now be under the control of state governors rather than starting from the scratch. But this would now become a financial burden to the states, who would have to handle their remuneration. But, Jeffrey, as you said, the subnationals are getting 60% more from FAC. So what's the economic activity that we're seeing in states? How are they more judiciously expending these funds for the benefit of Nigerians? One of the first places to start would be state police if the structure becomes a reality.
Exactly. I remember some of them are already spending this money on the security for police and other security agencies. Remember, former Governor Nyesom Wike, you will say that they are not chief security officers of their state, they are chief logistics officers of their state. What he meant by that, we're just spending money supporting them. We don't have control over them. Let's see how that plays out eventually. Lockheed says, if state police will solve the problem of this terrible insecurity that is making farmers not to go to farms and seriously bringing out this beast of hunger, so be it. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I like the optimism.
I like that as well. Shege, I hope it's not the same Shege in Hausa.
It could be somebody's name.
Well, Shege Gong is alias on X. He says, that's some significant progress. The establishment of state police could potentially enhance security and law enforcement at a local level. You know, Jeffrey, you said something significant that, you know, the former governor of Rivers State and FCT minister says they're only chief logistics officer because they're not in control. But curiously, sometimes they happen to be in control during elections.
Yeah.
So why that difference?
So exactly. So I know that in the 2014 confab, they also proposed that in reform, the name is Shege, so I was told.
Shege, okay.
In the reform that they are proposing, they should remove the name force from the police, Nigerian police, maybe department or something, so that will take off that military, you know, impression. You know, we have Nigeria Port Authority. Those are military authority.
If you ask me, those are just semantics.
Well,
force could be a reference to the character of the force, by the way.
It could be subliminal in psychology, and it could have an impact without you knowing because it's below perception threshold, but it impacts you and your behavior.
Whether force or not, we don't want a weak police outfit.
Let's go to flood. Yeah, there was flood. You know, it rained the other day, and I think places like Abelegba and all of that, it was really terrible. I saw videos online, so we see what you're saying. This is coming from Black Angel. Say, Chai, why is there no working drainage system in Lagos? That's so Governor Sanwo-Olu and his team. What is the Lagos state government doing about this? Because flooding occurs every rainy season.
How prepared are we for the flood that is to come every rainy season? It's a significant question. Bashir Abdul Hakim says, first rain of the year, many to come. The government needs to do something about drainage networks. And that goes to every other Lagosian. Yes, government must do its part, but what are we doing? You know, what's the nature of our own human activity? Are we clogging the canals and the drainage systems? We just must do better by ourselves while we also wait for government to do its part. All right,
Bukola is actually saying dispose responsibly. Black Jewel says, I hope this thing occurring over and over will make our people conscious about waste management and not building in flood zone without proper mitigation. So that's coming from Black Jewel. Bukola.
And the Oracle says the same flood, the Lagos commissioner was demolishing people's homes with fervency. Now we should ask him to fix this issue no less than 6 months, as he has done the demolition and have secured the waterways. We do not need stories on why the roads, homes and neighborhoods are flooded.
Sahito says we keep complaining about this whenever it rains in Lagos. Do we really have a listening government in this country?
And I stand for truth. I hope you do. He says, or they say, it looks even worse than when at Tokumbo Wahab started. So what were they demolishing houses for? So many places were flooded today.
All right, we want to take as much of your concerns and, you know, posts as possible. So we're racing through all of them. So let's go to the next one that has to do with the fall of the Naira. The Naira is getting to about 2,000 Naira per dollar, the way it's going. We hope it doesn't get there, but
closing at 1,800
yes,
in the evening of Tuesday. That's yesterday.
I don't know what economic activity is really going on. I can see that really drives this. But anyway, you're saying concerns about the Naira. This is cool in Nigeria. The rates are becoming scary. Can we ever go back to this point again? Oh boy.
Jimo Yahaya says, they say only when we use and buy Nigeria-made that the Naira will be strong. How many made in Nigeria are we selling abroad? But charity begins at home. Are we buying made in Nigeria in Nigeria?
The simple dynamics of economics is that whatever is demanded the most has the bigger value. That is what is exactly that's what's going on. It's not beyond what I just said. So if we want more demand for our currency, let's produce and support local manufacturing. And that's why we're going to talk about it today.
And we should add also make in Nigeria so that we can buy made in Nigeria. But how much are we making in Nigeria?
All right, Samuel says Naira will rise again. Can I say an amen?
Amen. Simple. I
like that. Simple.
Yeah, simple.
The guy cannot kill himself. Let me just say my own. It's as simple as that, Bukola.
Well, West Para is asking a question. Why Naira they allow dollar bullion?
Oh, I like the humor. I like the humor. Nigerians will always make, something out of nothing. All right, Biochemist says, Naira and London Bridge have one thing in common. I don't know what it is. It's getting higher.
Falling down.
Falling down. Okay.
Okay, Sheriff Chevy Enterprises says, I will suggest CBN cancel the Bureau de Change first and secure every dollar transaction goes through the bank alone.
On that end, I understand what he's saying.
Some people disagree with that one.
On that end, people are also saying that, we have a supply issue, So let's just take TJ Communication Hub. He said it's getting worse. I used to say that word. For those of you who are not Nigerians, when we say, it's an African term actually, it's getting worse. It's just getting worse. That's what it's trying to say. Let's now go to the big one. Cement manufacturers and the federal government agreed to drop cement prices to 7,000 naira. That number is still high, if you ask anybody. We were buying cement for less than 3,000. Now you go in the morning, you buy for 7,000. You go in the evening, you may have another 100 naira. So this is God Pekin Way Numb. Says 7,000 is still too expensive. Cement importation should be permitted in the interest of the masses. The people lack competition. That's why they feel this entitled, which is why we talk about the fear of oligopoly in sectors like cement manufacturing. We need to get more players in that space.
Absolutely. And John Ogbole is asking a question this morning. He says, are we technically saying there is now a subsidy on cement? If not, with the price dropped to 7,000 naira, who pays the difference? Or are these companies shortchanging Nigeria arbitrarily? This should be investigated.
I think I like that perspective. I didn't see it coming because even the power sector, they are saying we need to remove subsidy. So are we not now allowing market forces to play this space? I don't know how this is playing out because tomorrow we don't hear things like under recovery because monies were being paid that we didn't know. So let's be clear on what this agreement really means. What does it really mean to agree for 7,000 naira?
Absolutely.
Who pays the difference?
Absolutely.
Let's find out.
You recall I was asking yesterday, what's the nature of the intervention that the manufacturers are waiting for on the federal government for, that it would impact on the reduction? So perhaps that's the subsidy that Ogbole is asking
Let's
about.
do a quick run on this one. One of you, Michael, says cement at 7,000 is still expensive. They should reduce the cost drastically to possibly 4 to 5K. Max for 50 kg, I guess.
Yeah, and James Magnus Jr. says, very expensive. I think the border should be open for us to import cement. The limestone they're using, they get it here, and they know building a house cement is needed from the starting to the finish.
All right, let's start. So those are the things you've been saying on X. Please also talk to us via WhatsApp. We would like to read your comments as well. And that is where we're going to start from, with what is happening in the manufacturing sector. We've been talking to consumers a lot. It's now time to talk to the guys who give us or supply us this product. That will be our next conversation on the program. Join us again.